Status is why you think other people are better than you. Everybody wants status because it's been ingrained in our evolution. Self-actualization and peer appreciation sit at the very top of Maslow's pyramid of needs. Usually, status is built throughout one's life, but there are some ways to hijack and purchase it, which is why some people would do anything for money. Here are 15 things that instantly grant status. Welcome to Alux. First up, skin, hair, teeth, and overall cleanliness. Health and the book cover we present to the world are crucially important. This is why we wouldn't trade our lives with sick old men. Skin is a primary indicator of health. Any woman will tell you how walking out of a salon after a professional blowout just hits differently. Because of marketing, we place people with perfect white teeth higher on our societal scale than ones with crooked teeth. Clean clothes, clean body, no bad smells. This is all pretty mandatory for status. Expensive logos and occasion-appropriate outfits. There's two parts to this that are equally as important. So first, having clothes appropriate for the weather, the season, and occasion distinguishes between those of higher status and everyone else. You've seen people wear white sneakers showing their ankles in the middle of winter. It's the same as going hiking and meeting someone in their jeans, or wearing an Adidas tracksuit to a wedding. What are you even doing? Are the Balkans okay? And then, two, the logo thing is actually tied to history. Higher quality products used to require more skill and thus were more expensive. When you had a product from a well-known atelier or manufacturer, you took pride in that quality. And the psychological effect is still around today, but the quality element is, well, debatable. People see you with an Hermes bag and they know you've got money, access, and you're someone of means. The fastest way to gain status is through accessories, usually cheaper, but very noticeable. The car you drive. Now, if we didn't mention cars in this video, we would have been dragged in the comments, although some things are changing with culture. Boomers were all about the cars and big houses. Cars were the second most expensive things people would own after their primary house. Newer generations, though, can't afford homes, and they know that throwing money at a car is a liability. So in modern society's eyes, people who have expensive cars are either financially irresponsible or hella rich. A Porsche, a Range Rover, a G-Wagon, a Lambo, a Rolls all signal to the world who you are. It's crazy how you can tell just how different a person driving a BMW is from a Honda owner and a Rolls-Royce owner. Watch and jewelry. Poor and middle-class people don't partake in this sport because it's not essential, but the moment you get around people who have some money, status is communicated through the watch and the jewelry you wear. A ring from Tiffany's is of higher status than the one from your local jeweler. The same way a Chanel bag reads differently from a Zara bag. The same way a Rolex differs from a G-Shock. Of course, there are levels to this game, and your pieces only impress people who are below you. Your Rolex Submariner doesn't impress anyone with a Nautilus from Patek Philippe. The country you live in. Growing up, you heard about people living in better off countries than you did, and when you met them, you immediately granted them status because of it. They were different, but in a good way. They were richer, they had better health, they were more put together. If the bulk of the items on this list are splurges, this one is actually achievable by choice. If you and your future children would be better off growing up in a different country, then why wouldn't you move? The more you think about it, the more you realize this is an emotional decision rather than a financial or logistics one. The former can be all figured out. The best part is, if you decide to move and you don't like it, you could always go back. There's only upside to moving, and in the process, you will uncover a skill that grants you freedom. What if you did an experiment for a year? It'll take you 3 to 6 months to set everything up. Plane, house, even a job. And then you go and your entire world changes. You meet new people, you discover yourself, you now do what you love. Your mind and reality expands. You realize you can do this whenever you want, and in that second, you become a different person to the one you were before. You're someone who's no longer chained down by the fear of, how can someone like me do it? In 48 hours, we're closing the doors to Reinvent Mastery. It's still available at Alux.com/reinvent. Our flagship course that shows you step-by-step how to reinvent yourself. From what you do for a living, to getting paid more, to moving to a different country, changing the way the world sees you, and we're offering our biggest guarantee to date. If your life doesn't change or the course hasn't paid for itself in the first 6 months, we'll give you all your money back, no questions asked. That's how much we believe in this product, and for someone like you, there's nothing to lose here. You decide if you want your life to change or if you want to keep feeling stuck where you are. And to make this even better, if you go to Alux.com/reinvent right now, use the promo code NEWME for $100 off at checkout so you can put that $100 toward your new life. Alux.com/reinvent. We'll see you on the inside. Who your life partner is. There's nothing that tells people more about your intimate life than your partner. This is who you choose to spend the rest of your life with. Out of everyone in the world, this is who you chose, and they chose you to go on this adventure together. So don't screw this up. Your partner can lower or increase your perceived status. You can acquire status with the right person, or you will never reach your potential if they keep you locked in. The world is jealous of those who get it right. There has to be something about you, otherwise they wouldn't be with you. What you do for a living. Titles carry status. They still do. A doctor or a lawyer is still seen to be better off than a stripper or a plumber, despite the fact that in most cases, the latter out-earn the former. Some titles come with power, and power grants status to the power holder. The more people your professional decisions impact, the higher the perceived status. The CEO has more status than a manager, who has more status than the intern. How high you've reached on a professional ladder is tied also to your level of expertise, which once again adds status because of your ability to solve problems. The person being able to solve a problem nobody else can solve, they're granted status in a society that thrives on progress. If you have to wait in line or not, and even if you can get in line or not, because not everybody waits in line. This is something that growing up in a former communist country has taught us firsthand. It's not fair, but status grants you priority access. Status saves you time, and time is valuable. There are different entrances, and different doors are open for different people. That's the power of status. It grants access to the fast lane in life and opens up doors that are locked for everyone else. Who your parents are and who you know. Status is genetically transmitted. Reputation gets passed down from one generation to the next. People are more lenient on the offspring of those they respect. This is one of those massive unfair advantages that children of rich and famous families have over everyone else. This is why achieving status the right way is such a powerful thing. If you build a reputation for being a professional, being fair, and doing what you say you'll do, that reputation and status is funneled into everyone in your life. People try to cheat this by name dropping, where just through association you are borrowing someone else's status for yourself. Because if that person trusts you, and I trust that person, then I should trust you as well. Great art. There's just something about people that have good taste, because it's something you acquire through time and expertise. They get it, you don't. You don't really know why and how they're doing it, but you can definitely feel it, right? You enter someone's home and it feels different. Seeing a Picasso or a Basquiat on someone's wall immediately grants them status, because things of extreme value carry with them extreme status. Most people don't get to a level where they understand art. Even fewer reach a level where they can use art as an investment. This is why only the super rich historically played in this arena, and art granted them status and made them rich. So the big question then becomes, how does art help make them rich? And the answer to that is simple: supply and demand. No one is making any more Picassos, and you can't sell a knockoff Basquiat for millions. Most art collections never change hands, so getting access, unless you're a billionaire, is almost impossible. And all of this just drives prices through the roof. According to Citi, the global value of this asset class is expected to grow to an incredible $1 trillion by 2026. Contemporary art has outpaced the S&P 500 by 136% for the last 27 years. And because art is less volatile than other asset classes, it can also act as a natural inflation hedge, according to Goldman Sachs. In fact, art has gained over 20% yearly appreciation during the recent global high inflation. But we've saved the best statistic for last. Research proves that just a 5% allocation to contemporary art can improve your portfolio's performance at an astounding 98% of the time. That's your entire portfolio. And that, my friend, is how art helps people get and stay rich, and why one incredible company is on a mission to cut you in on the action. Longtime Alux viewers have heard about our sponsors at Masterworks for a year now. Thousands of you have signed up, and hey, the numbers tell a way better story than we can. They've taken over $45 million that would have flowed into billionaire bank accounts and put it in the hands of investors like you. And while stocks, bonds, real estate, and cryptocurrency have all suffered historic double-digit losses over the past few years, our subscribers at Masterworks have seen nothing but positive returns. 16 exits so far, and each of them turned a profit. The Masterworks waitlist is growing as the new year gets closer, but thanks to our savvy subscribers, you can still skip the waiting line and get started today using that link in the description. Press mentions. Back in the day, creating any form of media was expensive. Printing books, putting something on the newspaper or on TV, a billboard. So when things got in the spotlight, it signaled to everyone that it was worthy, important enough. That's why to this day, we tend to grant status to the people that we see on TV. That's why we look up to people on the cover of magazines, or at least we used to, until we realized it's all bullshit and most of it is engineered by PR firms. The natural progression of that is your digital identity. People will Google you. What comes up can increase or decrease your status. If you want to bypass this, you can simply buy yourself press mentions. With less than $3,000, you can fill up the first page of Google results with articles about how great you are at what you do. How rich you are. Imagine you walk up to someone random on the street. They walk away in a different direction, and someone next to you says, "Hey, did you know that guy's a billionaire?" Immediately your perception changes, right? You instantly grant them some kind of status. We want what other people want, and since wealth is so hard to acquire and most people want it, we grant status to those who have it. Even rich people grant status to those richer than them. Here's something that most people get wrong, though. Being rich and looking rich are two different things, and one is definitely way better than the other. You might look rich, but the moment people realize you're not, you lose everything. How many followers you've got. Actually, it's not followers per se, but how much attention you're getting. We live in an attention economy, so where attention goes, money follows. This is why you have most random people get crazy amounts of money just because they're good at toying around with people's attention. The Kardashians are masters of this, and society granted them status because of it. Whoever can get attention can sell something. If you can sell something, you will acquire wealth, and as we've learned, wealth grants status because we envy wealth in others. This is foundationally how Google and Meta have become such incredibly big businesses. They allowed people to buy attention with money. You never think about it, but it is the truth. How much of the world you've seen. Your limited understanding of the world gets trumped by someone else's more expanded view. The biggest price you'll pay in life is on the things you don't know that you don't know. Almost all hate and ignorance comes from a fear of the unknown. If you've never left your country, someone who has traveled around the world is exotic to you. They've seen more than you, they've heard more than you, they've acquired more experience than you, and that grants them status. This is why travel is such a big industry, because it reveals more of who you are, as well as elevating you from those who haven't had the privilege or courage to venture out. That's why when you hear someone say, "I've lived in Japan for 5 years," or "I've lived in Spain or Dubai or the Dominican Republic," something in you starts to twirl around because deep down you share that desire as well. Most people don't realize how powerful reinvent mastery is just for the relocation aspect of it alone. How carefree you are. We've met a couple of people in our lives who are truly stress-free. Not the hobo I live on what God provides kind of way, but the I've done enough, I have enough, and I don't need to do more kind of way. And we've been fascinated by them ever since. When everyone is so focused, so stressed, depressed, and always in a hurry, to see someone who just enjoys the moment and smiles at life is almost an insult to the way the rest of us live, right? It's that shocking. Most of our good friends come from a business background. They sold their companies for FU money and decided to not start another one. Instead, they just book the win and live life the best they can. One of them has been hanging out with his kid, reading and playing tennis for the past decade. Another one is currently sailing around the world and doesn't know when he'll be back. To us, these people have more status than any member of Congress or some executive with 1,000 people under them. Why? Because they won the game everyone else is still playing, and we aspire to do the very same. If you'd set a personal mission for yourself to dramatically increase your status in the next 6 months, which of these strategies would you use? Let us know in the comments. And since you watch this until the very end, of course, here's a bonus. Take on someone bigger than you and win. People really respect the underdog that leaves it all on the field even when they lose, but if they win, oh baby, that is how legends are born. In life, you'll get 1 or 2 opportunities to become great. When the time comes, you'll know that you have to make a choice. That's when fight or flight kicks in. A lawyer taking on a big corporation, a student taking on a bully, an addict kicking their addiction. The larger the gap, the bigger the status one gains from the ability to overcome them. If you want to make something of yourself, find the biggest mountain you have in life and then climb it, Aluxer. It'll be hella hard, but once you do, you'll look back on this and you'll realize you're no longer the person that you were before. You will feel different, and others will notice that. Reinvent Mastery distills this experience into a framework that you can follow. If you're a true Aluxer, go to Alux.com/reinvent and give it a try. Use the secret promo code MyTimeIsNow because it'll give you a $150 discount, and we hid this here in the bonus just for the folks who watch our videos until the very end. If your life doesn't change because of it, we'll give you all your money back. We'll see you on the inside, Aluxer.